All right, let's also now get you some updates in terms of what is happening with the nuclear deal negotiations with Iran and the 6 world powers. The United Nations Security Council met on Tuesday to hear an update on the developments surrounding the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and also the sets of rules for international monitoring for Iran's nuclear program. Now, France's ambassador to the United Nations, Nicolas de Rivière, read a joint statement from Britain, France and Germany. And 3 European powers said that they are rapidly reaching the end of the road to salvage the 2015 Iranian nuclear deal. This is because Iran's nuclear program has never been more advanced than it is today. The United Nations has also called on Iran to reverse the steps that are inconsistent with its nuclear-related commitments, while calling on the Islamic Republic to return to original commitments. The United Nations has also urged Washington to lift sanctions on Tehran in line with the 2015 Iranian nuclear deal.
For 2 years now, Iran has been taking unprecedented steps and recently accelerated the pace of most sensitive violations of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Iran has also curtailed monitoring by the International Atomic Energy Agency, leaving the international community with less knowledge of the status the Iranian nuclear programs. Iran's nuclear program has never been more advanced than it is today. This nuclear escalation is undermining international peace and security and the global non-proliferation system.
We also call on the Islamic Republic of Iran to reverse the steps it has taken that are not consistent with its nuclear-related commitments under the plan. In this reporting period, the International Atomic Energy Agency indicated that Iran has continued its research and development activities related to uranium metal production.
Now, speaking before the Council, Iran's representative Majid Takht Ravanchi called the sanctions imposed by the Americans as nothing short of an economic war against Iran. Ravanchi also reiterated Iran's demand of effective removal of all crippling financial sanctions at once in a verifiable manner, and he also demanded that the Americans must be consistent in their negotiations.
The fact is that we have been completely deprived of our rights and benefits under the JCPOA for almost 4 years. Bearing in mind these realities, we insist on the effective removal of all sanctions at once and in a verifiable manner. The way that the U.S. has treated its international obligations has necessitated such an approach.
Now, together with Germany and the European Union, Iran signed the JCPOA in 2015 alongside China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom and the United States. Now, Iran cast itself as the aggrieved party as a result of the American decision to unilaterally abandon the deal and to reimpose harsh sanctions. Remember, the deal was originally signed under the Barack Obama regime in 2015, and later, subsequently, when Donald Trump took charge as the President of the United States, he described the JCPOA, the Iranian nuclear deal of 2015, as the worst negotiated deal in American history. He decided to unilaterally walk out of the deal and immediately slapped crippling sanctions on Tehran. And Tehran responded by beginning to violate the terms of the JCPOA and started to enrich uranium again. Now, Iran insists that it also has the right to develop a nuclear program, and also insists that its nuclear program is meant only for peaceful civilian purposes, and it wants to only generate electricity as a result of the nuclear program. Now, Tehran has accused the Western powers of engaging in a clear blame game. Iran's top nuclear negotiator Ali Bagheri Khani has in fact tweeted, and I quote him here, "Some actors persist in their blame game habit instead of real diplomacy." He was referring to the 2018 US withdrawal. He also wrote that diplomacy is a two-way street. If there's a real will to remedy the culprit's wrongdoing, the way for a quick, good deal will of course be paved. The comments from all sides suggest that it's quite likely that these negotiations could of course collapse. All sides are seeking to avoid being held responsible for the potential failure of these talks. It is unclear exactly as to what might happen if the talks were to collapse at this point of time. Tehran could be expected to move further away from its commitments under the deal, while the Western allies could be expected to toughen their sanctions, but the stakes are already very high. A failure in negotiations could carry the risk of a new regional conflict. The Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has clearly said that the Americans are actively engaging with allies on alternatives. Now, the State of Israel, which is not a part of these negotiations, which wants these negotiations to be halted forthwith, has twice attacked the nuclear facilities of the Arab nations and is pushing for a pretty tough policy if diplomacy fails to rein in Iran's nuclear program. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.